Okay, everybody, I just wanted to quickly go through the document processing unit. This will be the first of 3 videos that I intend to make. So firstly, we want to go through firstly, we want to go through creating a Google Forms and creating a survey. So surveys are incredibly helpful when you want to do some data analysis. Of course, what we want you to do at this point is to be able to build questionnaires or surveys using Google Form, collaborate, create multiple choice questions, short answer questions, sharing and viewing the results, and do some response validation. And in the next video, we'll talk a little bit more about interpreting and analyzing data. So if you click on this link that you see at the bottom of the screen here, docs.google.com/forms, it will take you to a page that looks like this. So let's go ahead and click on this plus button to create a new form. The very first thing I'd like you to do is to give your form a title up here. So I'm going to call this example survey. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that, and I'm gonna, so you can see as soon as I title that, it titles my survey for me as well. So what you can do is you should give your survey a little description. So this is a sample survey, just for the purpose of learning. Let me zoom into that a little bit so you can see it better. Sample. Okay, so I'm going to just show you how to make questions really quickly. So over here, I'm just going to add a question such as, what is your name? Okay, you can see that this part automatically changes to short answer, okay, because Google Forms has some AI working in the background which looks at your question and determines what might be the best type of answer for this question. And I do agree, I think it should be short answered. So I'm going to just click this button that keeps it required, and then I'm going to click this plus button here to add a new question. The next one is going to be, what is your ID? And again, Google thinks it should be a short answered. I agree. I'm going to click this button. Now, at this point, I want to talk a little bit about response validation. As you can see, Google is suggesting to me that this question should have an answer which should be numeric, and it should be is a number. I think that's pretty good, so I'll just leave it as is. Okay, you could change it to many different things, and I'll show you some different types of response validations in a second. I'm going to add this as well. One of the things I want to ask is, for example, how many hours of sleep do you get per night? How many hours of sleep do you get per night? Sorry, that's not obvious. Let's just go like that. Okay. All right. Now, Google thinks this should be a multiple choice, and I disagree, okay, because I want to show you all the different options you have. So I'm going to change this from multiple choice to short answer. I'm going to click on this button right here, which represents more options, and click on response validation. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say this has to be a number, and it should be not greater than, but I'm going to make it less than or equal to, for example, 12 hours, right? So the reason I want to show you the different types of response validations is because you should be conscious about what kind of answers people are entering. So let's assume that this survey is going to be handed out to students, and I don't think students sleep more than 12 hours. If they do, then if they're 12 hours at school and 12 hours at home, that means they're doing pretty much nothing else throughout their day, and that doesn't sound great. So yeah, it's just an example. Let's go on. I want to show you some other stuff. So for example, what is your favorite food category? Okay, and just because I want to show you different choices, so Google suggests this should be a multiple choice, and I agree. I'm going to make option 1, say fast food, make option 2 healthy food, I'm going to make option 3 Italian, and option 4 I'll make it Japanese. Okay, I know these aren't great options, but anyway, we'll move on. I want to ask this. I want to get to know the students a little bit better, so I want to say, how much have you enjoyed the first week at MUIDS? And I just want to show you the different types of questions you can make. So as you can see, this one's saying, oh, it's a linear scale, and that's what I want. I want it to be from 1 to 5. That's pretty good. So let's say I want to label the different scales. So the one is I hated it, exclamation mark, and this is kind of like a joke, just write that. And the second is I loved it, exclamation mark with a big smiley at the end. So if I click away from this question, if I add another question, you can see that this is what the linear scale would look like if you were actually giving it out on a survey. Let's just do one more really quickly. Let's go back here, and what I want to do is I want to ask another question like this. So copy paste. If you just hit the copy button, it copies. And what I can do is I can just keep the same answers, and I can just change the question like, enjoyed this class in the first week. So that's about it. Let's say that's all I'm going to do. Those are just the number of questions. I'm going to delete this one by hitting this button. Yeah, okay. So before you send your survey out, here's some things to consider. Let's look at the settings really quickly. So this button up here asks you to collect the email addresses of the people taking your survey. You should be very cautious about whether or not you do this. There's no right or wrong answer here depending on what your goal is, but this is just something you should be aware of. If you do limit your survey to one response, notice that that will automatically collect the email addresses. So these two buttons are one of the same, even though it might not be super explicit. Edit after response and see summary charts are something you can decide to do. Again, if you select edit after response, that will automatically collect email addresses. The see summary charts, this is something I recommend you always select for all your surveys. It just lets your users know what everyone else has answered. It's just a nice way to be transparent. I'm not going to talk too much about this tab right here, presentation, except if you have a really long survey, I recommend you select the show progress bar, and this is totally unimportant. I also think you should send in a nice message, just giving someone something in response for taking your survey. If this was something realistic, like if you were doing this for a company and you wanted to know product information, you could give them something like a gift code at this point. Something like that. So just so you know how you would actually use this in a real life scenario. Okay, so that's about it. I'm not going to go through the quizzes section because I don't think this is a good platform to create quizzes on. I'm just going to hit send over there. So this is incredibly important. What I'd like you to do is I want to make sure that you understand how you can use these tools to collaborate with people. So if you click on this button right here and click on add collaborators, you can add the email addresses of everyone in your group or anyone you want to share the results with. So these people will be able to edit the results, analyze the results with you. They'll also be able to make the survey with you as you're making it. So you just want to add the email address of the person and make sure that this is selected to edit, and just go ahead and send them an invite so you can all create this form together and also edit the data together. Okay, lastly, how do we send the survey out to our audience? Just go ahead and click the big send button. Go ahead and click on this link. As long as you share this link in different places, it's a good way for people to take your survey. I recommend shortening it because it's easier to read. Let's just quickly go back to the PowerPoint. So I think a good way to shorten your link to a way where like everyone who gets it has access to it, everyone who sees it has access to it, is to use a QR code or to use a link shortener. So I will show you how to use this one right now. If you'd like to use the QR code generator, you can try it on your own time. So I copied the link from the Google surveys, and I'm just going to paste the link into this link shortener, click submit, and you can see it does about a 50% shorter link. Different people to take the survey. You could even do it at a QR. The QR is very useful if people are on their mobile device. So in the next video, we will talk about how to analyze the data, but so far you should be very familiar with how to do all these different things. Okay, great.